A lot to get to, Bob. We just heard from Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz. I think it's his first public appearance since the Luna Terra implosion, right? He says, though, that may just be a taste of what's to come.
Yeah, it's very interesting. He had some very important comments about Bitcoin and whether or not it was going to bottom or not. In fact, he was asked about that. He said Bitcoin will turn as soon as the Fed flinches. Interesting statement. He said there's no fears Bitcoin is not going to remain a real macro asset. But the big story, I think, was everybody here from the crypto community reacting to that Senate bill that was introduced yesterday by Gillibrand and Loomis. Of course, this bill would give primary authority to regulate crypto to the CFTC. The crypto community that's in attendance here universally has been talking about this and applauding this. Here's what Mike Novogratz had to say about that bill.
Wildly positive, like 3 cheers for the 2 female senators from either side of the aisle. It does a couple things. It says this is bipartisan. And so that's a big positive. I think the bill laid out pretty much what the industry would like, which is just transparency and clarity. Is it going to get passed? No, it's not. But it's a great starting point for the negotiation and for the discussion.
So as you can see, the crypto community wants the CFTC to be their primary regulator. They think the CFTC is a smaller organization. It's more sympathetic to them. And they've really soured on the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, who's going to be speaking here in an hour. He's not even approved a Bitcoin ETF. Novogratz said it was crazy that the SEC had not approved it. So I think there's a lot of people unhappy with Gary Gensler right now.
Right,
in the crypto community.
A sigh of relief that he's not going to be the one potentially making the rules. But one thing that he is looking at that he's been quite vocal about is payment for order flow, which has been so controversial with retail investors. What do you think we're going to hear from him regarding payment for order flow? And Bob, you've talked about this in the past. Is he looking for a political win here, or is this going to be an actual win for retail investors? Break it down for us.
Well, I think the problem is for payment for order flow, the retail investor has never had it better. There's $0 commissions that are out there. So the cost of trading has gone to practically zero. There is some cost for payment for order flow for those brokers who do engage in it, but it's very small. But Gensler's been very critical about that. He doesn't like the fact that there are a few wholesalers that essentially control the business, and he thinks that some of the brokers that actually sell that payment for order flow may have conflicts of interest because you go to the person who's offering them the most money for the order flow. So I think Gensler today is going to propose some system whereby we have an auction for the retail order flow rather than just have a few wholesale market makers that are controlling that. That may be feasible, but the question is, can he really show that the retail investor is being dramatically harmed? And proposing a big change in the trading system would be fairly significant. I think the industry is going to probably push back pretty seriously against him.
You're already hearing comments from the likes of Virtu's CEO on that this may have unintended consequences, Bob. And I wonder, is payment for order flow the problem here, or is it the ease? And I know they're related, in which retail investors have been able to make these quicker trades versus long-term investments. I mean, we've talked so much about a Robinhood that throws confetti up on the screen to encourage you to do more trades. So if you change the way the payment for order flow works, does that get at that root problem?
No, it doesn't really. It's exactly what you said. So you're sitting in a bar, your friends, and you have one phone up and another phone. You have one phone that's sitting there with DraftKings, and you have another phone that's there with Robinhood, and you're making a bet on the Giants game on one hand and making a bet on crypto or on IBM on the other phone. What's the difference? To a lot of people, there isn't. But of course, as you note, there is a difference. One's just investing and trading, the other's just gambling. Can you make that distinction? And I think that's part of the problem a lot of people have, including Gary Gensler, with the system. And he's trying, he's not addressing that particular problem here, but he has been very critical of Robinhood in the past for engaging in that kind of thing, erasing the lines between gambling and investing and confusing everybody in the process.
Right. So then, Bob, sort of in the longer term, let's say even a year or 2 years out, do you think that the trend is that retail investors are going to have to pay for trades? They won't get this commission-free trading. And what does that do in the long run as well? Does that discourage retail investors from getting into the market in the first place, where they may be treating it, more like a casino at the beginning, but at least that gets them into the market for the long term, which is something that pretty much everyone agrees is ultimately a good thing.
If I had to guess, I would say that this proposal, I think it's being formulated, is unlikely to go through in this form. I do think that you'll get some more disclosure. For example, the broker who's doing this might have to disclose exactly what the cost is for payment for order flow. It's not clear right now. It's obviously, Deirdre, very small amounts of money. The most important thing is the direction of the market and staying invested. And that's what people need to be aware of. Long-term investing, this is not that significant. For people who do an awful lot of trading, it may be a little more important. My sense is payment for order flow is not going to go away. $0 commissions is not going to go away, but you might get a little more disclosure as to what the actual and real costs are.
Yeah, well, we know you'll bring us the updates from Chair Gary Gensler. Bob Pisani, thank you so much.